Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of PowerCore Productions and Podcastings. And in today's video, we are going to be continuing Dragon Ball World's Strongest. What if Wonder Woman was in Dragon Ball Part 5? As always, if you're new to the channel, or if you're a regular and you like what we have to offer, then please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit that bell for post notifications so you can stay up to date on everything that is PowerCore Productions and Podcasting that has to come out now and in the future. Now as we go into part 5, we enter into the Z portion of the Dragon Ball story. We are going to be starting with the Saiyan Saga as always, as Goku and Diana explore this new and unforeseen world together. Now with their child Gohan being 4 years of age, we see how their life will be impacted by the arrival of the Saiyans, as our journey that started here on the Earth travels out to the stars above. How will they be able to overcome the new and ever-challenging forces that come into this world? And with the addition of Wonder Woman, how will the world of Dragon Ball change? Will it be for better or will it be for worse? For all this and more, stay tuned as we now continue Dragon Ball World's Strongest. What if Wonder Woman was in Dragon Ball Part 5? As always, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. As our story begins, we would eventually reach the point of the beginning of Z. However, much would have changed greatly from the original timeline that you are familiar with. For one, Goku and Diana had a much different relationship, one that I'm pretty sure many of you would have been suspecting. For one thing, Goku and Diana would have kept on in their training, although it wouldn't have been nearly as intense as it might have been. Remember, Gohan was born not all that long ago, about 4 years up to this point, and it had only been 2 years ago when the two of them competed in the 24th World Martial Arts Tournament, a tournament that, as you know, in the original timeline, was won by Hercule in the start of its popularity. However, because Goku wanted to have one more shot at victory, Diana and Goku agreed that they would compete in the 24th World Martial Arts Tournament, meaning that Goku would have competed in 4 tournaments straight, from 21 to 24, with Diana being the victor in 22 and 23. She was attempting to go for a three-peat, however she would be stopped by her husband, who would finally get the victory in the finals, avenging his loss from the 22nd finals himself. So, how would things be different for the Z Fighters here? For one, in terms of their power, they would be a lot more significant. For Goku, his power level would be at around 510. Once you removed his weights, his power level would increase to around 620. As for Diana, her power level hovered at around 530, but when she took off her bracelets, she would go to an even 600. The main point of this dichotomy is that in terms of their base power, Diana has a lot more potential. Remember, she is an Amazon. However, Goku, in terms of going beyond his base, is a lot more higher. That's why, when all of the weight is taken into account, Diana still has the advantage with her 530 to Goku's 510. But when the weights are removed, Goku gets the increase, going to a 620, while Diana is only at 600. Even Piccolo would see some improvement, as his power level would be at an even 500, and once he removed his weighted clothing such as his cape and his turban, he would go to an even 600. Even this version of Gohan would be powerful in his own right, as even at the age of 4, he would have a power level of around 90. Now, how was Gohan raised so far in this world? Did he just train all the time? No. You see, the thing about Diana and at least from what we've seen of her in the Wonder Woman story and lore, is that she is a very balanced individual. Also, another thing to consider is how Diana was raised. She was raised on the island of Themyscira with the Amazons, a warrior race who grow their own food, who develop their own culture, who teach and raise themselves. So the idea of pursuing a higher education and things of that nature, that's not something that Diana would aspire towards. And it didn't mean that she was illiterate or not learned at all. It just meant that learning could be done at home, and that getting a higher education isn't the end-all be-all. Also, taking some of my own bias into it, we're talking about the Dragon Ball world. A world where you can be and do anything you want. And while secular education is something that you should take advantage of if you have it, if you could do all of the things that the people in Dragon Ball Z could do, would you really want to settle down for a regular job? But the point is that Gohan would be balanced. In terms of education, he would learn the basics. He would know how to read, how to write, how to do basic math and things of that nature. And there would be a lot of history that Gohan could learn from Diana in terms of his people, his heritage, his race, and all of those other things. So Gohan is by no means dumb or anything like that. In fact, for the most part, he's pretty much similar to his canon self. Albeit now, he's not so shy and timid, he has a lot more confidence, and he's a lot more sure of himself. Goku would spend time with Gohan, not just in training, but they would do father-son bonding. They would go fishing. They would go flying on the Nimbus cloud and explore nature and take in the peace and tranquility of it all. You could say this is honestly the most balanced version of Gohan that you could ever make, because both of his parents know what it means to be a fighter, and Diana would want her son to have the basic needs to defend himself, because Diana would fully understand the dangers of the world that they live in, and to not train Gohan to be prepared to face such problems would be entirely irresponsible. So our story would begin similar to how it does in Z. Goku would be going to Kame House to meet with Master Roshi, Bulma, and Krillin. However, Diana and Gohan would be visiting him this time. Also remember, everyone would know about Gohan's existence, so they would already be expecting to see him. After all, Bulma was holding baby Gohan while they were at the 24th World Martial Arts Tournament. The group would all arrive and meet with one another, getting a chance to reminisce a bit. It wasn't that they didn't keep in contact, but still, it wasn't like they were meeting up all the time. In the meanwhile, a strange pod-like ship would come through from Earth's orbit, eventually landing onto the planet. This would be none other than Radix, who would still arrive the same way as he had before. Now, because of the stronger power levels here on this planet, Radix Scouter would go off immediately, as he would come into contact with Piccolo. However, their exchange would still be brief, as he would not only pick up the power level of Goku, but Diana as well. Eventually leading to the infamous meeting, as Radix would fly down from above, landing on the Kame House Island, where he would come face to face with the Z Fighters. Goku now being reunited with his brother once again in Radix, learning of his Saiyan origin as his real name was Kakarot, as well as hailing from the race of the Saiyans. But what would truly shock Radix would not only be just Goku, but also meeting his wife, Diana, as well as their son, Gohan. Gohan wouldn't be nearly as scared, although he would be a bit nervous. Diana and Goku standing at the ready. Now, unlike in the original, where Radix was able to get the jump on all of them and take Gohan away, that wouldn't happen this time around, as Diana and Goku would still have their senses about them. The two of them working together would be a match for Radix, actually pushing him back quite a bit. Goku and Diana would take the fight to Radix to the mainland, telling Gohan to stay back on the island with Krillin, Roshi, and Bulma, to keep him safe. Before long, Radix Diana, and Goku would land in an open field, the three now engaging in combat. Under normal circumstances, Radix would probably be able to beat either one-on-one, but in a 2-on-1 fight, he definitely would not have the advantage. Also, another thing to remember is that this version of Wonder Woman, Diana, and Goku have fought together. Remember, they worked together to fight against the evil Demon King Piccolo. So now, as they're working together once again, the two of them would be in sync. They would know how the other fought and they would know how to move. And because of this, they would be able to get the hold of Radix. And then, if almost to make matters worse, Piccolo would join in not too long afterwards. This version of Piccolo, while not being on the most friendliest of terms, he wasn't outright evil or trying to declare his needs to take over the world. So once Piccolo gets involved, with all three fighters now working together, Radix would safe to say have a lot more issues than he could have predicted. Eventually, Radix would be defeated, and he would be tied up by Diana, as she would bind him with the lasso of truth, forcing him to speak only the truth when asking. With no choice, Radix would reveal everything. He would tell Goku of his origins in full detail, of their mother and father in Bardock and Guinea. He would tell them the story of the Saiyan race, and he would also tell them of how they were subjugated to Frieza. Even more so, Radix would reveal that in due time, there were two other Saiyans who would be on their way to Earth in only a year. But that wasn't what really had Radix oddly concerned. He wanted to know more about these people that his brother was with. For one, why was he hanging around a Namekian? Goku looked at him confused, as he was trying to wonder just what did he mean by Namekian. And Radix went on into detail about the Namekian race, shocking Piccolo to learn that there might be more of him. He talked about the legend of the Namekians and their wish-granting orbs or some sort of myth. And then Goku, rather stupidly, would confirm such myths, explaining that the Dragon Balls were real and that they were here on Earth. Once Radix had heard this, it would dawn on him that there were a lot of things he didn't know. But more nervously, he would wriggle away as he locked off his scouter from his face, telling them to step on it. Without thinking much about it, they weren't sure of why they'd want him to break the device. Radix having no choice, he would loosely try to get up and take his foot, crushing it. When asking why he was doing such a thing in a hurry, he had thought that whole myth with the wish-granting orbs or the Dragon Ball thingies, he thought they were fake. But now they had just confirmed that they were indeed real. And now even worser, he'd just given his former associates high incentive to want to come to the planet. Not only would they come and destroy everything in sight, but they were going to want those Dragon Balls. Now with the situation underway, a decision had to be made on what they were going to do. They had about a year or so before the Saiyans would arrive. They could train now and get stronger, but would that be enough? Also, their actions would also attract attention from other people. One warrior in particular who was running by when she sensed the strong power level. This was none other than Chi-Chi. Chi-Chi had been training for the last 2 years, hoping to get her revenge against Diana. Sensing Diana's power spike, she had to see what was going on. What she found was something a lot more confusing. She found Goku, Diana, Piccolo, and some weird tied up guy with long black hair and a monkey's tail? Like Goku? Chi-Chi would step forward immediately and demand to know what was going on, and the group would have no choice but to fill her in. To say that she was shocked to learn about all of this would be an understatement. To learn that Goku was some Saiyan, that there were other beings in space, similar to Piccolo that might have Dragon Balls. And what's worse is that for as powerful as this Radix guy was, there were two more stronger Saiyans who were now on their way to Earth. To say that everything was now starting to become more and more dire would be an understatement. Although thankfully, there would be some guidance that would come their way. That would be in the form of Kami, who would call all of them to the lookout immediately, even Radix as well. The group would make their way to the lookout, where Kami would debrief them on the situation, explaining that these Saiyans could potentially be the end of the Earth, and as such, they were going to have to take it upon themselves to get as strong as possible to prepare for the impending attack. One thing that they could do, and as Kami had been going over it, was special training. There was a man in Otherworld, the Kai, known as King Kai, someone who could offer them a special power if needed. Of course, they would have to travel across a path known as Snake Way, and if they were able to survive the journey, then the benefits could outweigh more than anything they could have expected. Now, the real question was deciding who would go. Originally, it was Goku who would go and train with King Kai, but now this time around, there would be a few other choices. Ultimately, the one who would be going to train with King Kai would be Diana. The reason being is that due to her heritage as being an Amazon, the Amazons being descendants and creations from one of the Supreme Kais, it would be more appropriate for her to go. Of course, Goku would have wanted to go as well, but Diana would pull Goku aside, explaining to him that for now, he had to stay on Earth and watch over Radix, and make sure that he didn't try anything, and he needed to try to do some training himself. Also, she would talk to Goku about Gohan, and they would come to the decision that until the Saiyan threat was taken care of, Gohan would be sent to Themyscira, where he would live with Diana's mother in the Amazons. Now, you might be wondering why Gohan isn't going to be participating in the upcoming fight. Well, the answer is kind of simple enough. There's no reason to put him in any unnecessary danger. Also, right now, Goku and Diana needed to focus on their own training, and they would have more than enough fighters to help them along the way. And this could be a good experience for Gohan to spend some time with his grandmother. Of course, if they would have wanted him to stay if they could be there together. But right now, Diana was thinking of things in more of the bigger picture. Goku would need to keep an eye on Radix, and if Radix was what he claimed to be, and if the lasso of truth had revealed anything, the two brothers could do some good bonding in training together for the upcoming Saiyan attack. After thinking this over, Goku would agree. However, before Diana would leave, they would go and see Gohan, and explain to him everything that was happening. Diana would explain to her son that, at least for the next year, he was going to be spending some time with Grandma, while Mom and Dad were going to be doing some really important training. While Gohan was a little disappointed that he wouldn't be with them for a while, in the end he understood the situation, and since he never got to go to Themyscira very much, he liked the idea of being there for a while. And just because Gohan was going to be on Themyscira, it doesn't mean that he wasn't going to learn anything. He would be able to undergo some Amazon training in terms of combat and different ways to apply using ki, a lot like how Diana had done in her younger years. And his grandmother, Hippolyta, would love to spend time with her grandson. Wishing her good luck, Diana would go to the other world with Kami, as she was taken before King Yima, who would give her the special permission to travel Snake Way to go and see King Kai. Goku would drop off Gohan on Themyscira with Hippolyta, explaining the situation and what was happening, Hippolyta would make sure that the Amazons were also trained as well, and that they would be on standby in case anything happened, and she promised she would watch after Gohan. With this, Goku would now be free to take his training and push it to the max. So, who was going to train with who in the meantime? Diana was going to be making her way through Snake Way, as she would be going to see King Kai. Goku, Piccolo, Radix, and Chi-Chi decided they would have a 4-man training trip together. Radix being a bit nervous. He didn't like the idea of that lasso of truth that Goku's wife had used, the way that it revealed everything that he had kept bottled up inside. You see, for this version of Radix, when the lasso of truth was used on him, it caused him to reveal many things. In a way, it caused him to have to reflect on a lot of the darkness that he held inside. Deep down, he knew that his mother and father wouldn't want him to hurt or kill his brother, let alone his family. They were supposed to survive and stick together. That's what Gine wanted. In a way, the lasso of truth brought those feelings back to the surface. Piccolo would kind of understand this in a way. It was something that happened to him after the 23rd World Martial Arts Tournament, when the lasso of truth was used on him as well, forcing him to confront his inner darkness and reveal that deep down, he wasn't evil. He didn't want to be. That was kind of the effect that the lasso of truth had on you. Even if you lied to yourself, it would force you to bring out the truth. The truth being that Radix and Piccolo, sure, they had their bad tendencies, but deep down, they weren't nearly as evil or as dark as they tried to portray themselves. And if they were, then the lasso would have revealed it. So for now, a lot of the trainings have been set. Diana would be making her way to King Kai. Goku, Piccolo, Radix, and Chi-Chi decided that the 4 of them would train together for a year and push themselves to the limit. And, just like before, Krillin, Yamcha, Tien, Chaozu, and Yajirobe would train at Kami's at the Lookout. And with that, the Z-Fighters would prepare for the arrival of the Saiyans. This concludes What If Wonder Woman Was in Dragon Ball? Dragon Ball World's Strongest Part 5. As always, if you enjoyed today's video and everything else that we have to offer, then please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit that bell for post notifications so you can stay up to date on everything that is PowerCore Productions and Podcastings that is to come out now and in the future. Stay tuned for tomorrow's video as we continue Neon Genesis Evangelion Redemption, Book 1, Part 5, What If Shinji Went Back in Time? But anyway, that's going to do it for the end of today's video. I'm Javon Harrington with PowerCore Productions and Podcastings. Signing off, and I'll see you next time.